Hi guys, welcome to another episode. Another episode of Sports Scene. It's a bit of we're going to be speaking obviously about the international football this week, with there being no Premier League football. So I think the obvious place to start with that is England. They take on San Marino today on the 25th. I'm not sure whether are we releasing this video on Friday.
This will be posted on Friday, yeah, so it would be yesterday as you see this, but they've not played whilst we're recording this.
Yeah. So we're recording this on the 25th, so England play San Marino today. They play Albania the 28th on Sunday, and then they play Poland the 31st, which is Wednesday. From the squad that's been picked, you'd probably think that England should go on and win all three games.
You would expect them to. It's not the highest level of competition, is it? You know, I know Poland have got a few good players, but we should be beating these type of teams, really.
Yeah, I think the only player really from those three teams where you look out for is Lukey.
Yeah,
that's pretty much. I mean, I'd expect England to score at least 6 against San Marino tonight.
Yeah, you would hope so. This is a chance for like a few players to grab some goals, to be honest.
Yeah, I'd expect. I say, if England scored less than 6, then I'd be disappointed.
Yeah,
especially with the game being at Wembley as well.
I'd expect a clean sheet as well.
Oh, most definitely. I wouldn't expect our keeper to do anything at all.
Yeah.
But probably the same with Albania. I know the Albania game's away. But they won't have any supporters in like the stadium or anything like that, so it's not going to be. It's usually like they say it's quite intimidating going to those types of countries away from home, isn't it? With fans, so if there be no fans there, again, I'd expect the league victory again.
Yeah.
But obviously that one's going to be a lot tighter than the San Marino game, and then again, expect England to beat Poland. Whether they can keep Lewandowski quiet enough to keep a clean sheet. But I'd just looking at those games, I think they're nice games to have. I think you should never get 9 points out of those games.
If we're going to have aspirations of going on and winning the World Cup, then them type of games we should win easily.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think maybe Poland. I don't think Poland qualify for any major tournaments these days. If they do, they're not really a threat at all.
Yeah.
So I think England's aspirations are to go on and obviously do well in the Euros this year, and then I know they got to the semi-finals of the last World Cup, so maybe to improve on that and at least get to the final.
Yeah.
So, like you said, these are the teams where you need to just dispatch with ease.
True. Yeah. I agree with you, to be honest. If we don't come away with 9 points, I think that's a disappointing effort, to be honest.
I think it'd be interesting tonight as well against San Marino if Southgate plays 5 at the back.
Yeah. Does he want to stick with that? Like, if that's going to be our way, then that's how he's going to do it, or do you just go for the throat against the lowest ranked team in the FIFA rankings?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he sets up and what players he picks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There's a few players that I'd probably like to see start. Like I'd like to see Phil Foden start.
Yeah.
I wouldn't play Harry Kane in that game. I'd like to see Ollie Watkins maybe get a start.
Yeah, I think it's a good chance to see what a couple of them are made of.
I think it's going to be a good team if you're going to give everyone like debuts and people with not many caps. I mean, it's a perfect game to put them into, isn't it? Against like San Marino.
Yeah.
You're going to be attacking and getting a lot of shots away, and so I think it's you can get like the confidence up as well. So, me personally, if I was picking the team, I would probably go with like the Ollie Watkins and the young Foden. I'm not sure. Did Greenwood get picked, or did he not make it?
I know he got picked for the under 25s, and he withdrew from that squad, so maybe not.
No, I'd say I wouldn't have minded seeing him get picked and playing like this time again as well. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he lines up and how strong he picks the team.
Definitely. Are there any other, let's call them big games in the qualifiers that you're looking forward to?
Well, there was a surprise result yesterday that I seen. Turkey beat Netherlands 4-2. Turkey don't really beat any big team anymore, so that was a bit of a struggle because they've got. I don't think they've got the easiest group, so that was a major blow to them. Because they have recently missed out on a couple of major tournaments. So that'll be I don't think they can really afford to miss another World Cup as well.
Yeah, a few teams had tough games yesterday, to be honest. Portugal's was a hard-fought game.
Yeah, that ended 1-0.
Yeah.
I was surprised in that game. They didn't start Bruno.
Yeah.
He came from the bench. I think France drew as well. France drew 1-1.
Yeah, of Ukraine.
Yeah, that was obviously a poor result for them because they were out. They're one of the favourites to obviously win the Euros, and then probably going to have a strong team for like the World Cup as well. So, I don't think anyone really was outstanding, but it just depends, doesn't it? It's weird time, so
we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
I think that's literally all we got to cover on the football.
Although it's just popped into my head about the football. Actually, there was some news about UEFA changing the financial fair play rules.
Oh yeah.
And allowing teams to have more, like relaxing the regulations for teams to spend,
right.
Which is interesting. Obviously, you have the last big case was when Man City took them to court, and obviously got that overruled. And Man City was talking about how flawed the system is and stuff like that. I know people have been speaking about they've seemed to relax the regulations as soon as Barcelona and Real Madrid have hit some financial crisis, which is a bit of a coincidence, but it's interesting. But apparently, there's going to be news about them changing that system to go to a more relaxed one. So that'll be interesting to look out for.
I'll have to look out for that one.
Because the way that was brought in, I think, was to protect the elite teams in Europe.
Yeah.
So I know they're basically now they go off like a you can only spend what you earn type of thing, which I think hinders like the smaller clubs because they're not going to bring in as much as the big clubs, so they can't spend that money. So
yeah.
I think it'll be easier for the smaller clubs to try and compete now. If they do relax the situation with that, but I think that news only broke like yesterday or the day before, so
you kind of have to wait and see where it goes.
It's not official yet, but it's probably something to look out for. But apart from that, it's been with the internationals and stuff like that, it's been quite quiet on like the football front. So,
well, moving on to something that we hope won't be quiet and there'll be a lot of noise is the UFC. Now, it's another big card that we've been looking forward to, like the last one. Sadly, it has lost a couple of fights, but 2 fights that I was really looking forward to was obviously the Volkanovski and Ortega fight, which is off because Volkanovski's tested positive, and then Johnny Walker was supposed to fight Jimmy Crute, which I thought would have been a hell of a fight, but Johnny Walker pulled out of that fight in like January or February because of a chest injury, so sad to lose them ones. But the 3 fights we're going to focus on here are Stipe versus Ngannou 2, Woodley versus Lukey, and Shawn O'Malley versus Thomas Almeida. So I'll start from the top and go down. So Stipe, 20-3. So I feel like sometimes doesn't get the credit for how good he's been. Coming fresh off the trilogy fight with DC, which obviously he won 2-1. And then you have Francis, who's won his last 4 fights by TKO or KO in the first round. It's kind of been undeniable that he had to get a shot. Obviously, the last meeting between the two of them was a decision, quite dominant decision to Stipe. So the big question is, has Francis Ngannou made the changes required to win this fight?
I think we will see a new champion personally.
I've backed Francis, to be honest. Now that he's working with Eric Nipsick, I just think that he's going to be... Because the first fight, he literally went in there just winging punches, just hoping one connected. I think he's a lot more measured and calculated now. I know, obviously, if you saw the Rosenstrike fight, that really doesn't lend itself to that narrative, because he just ran across the octagon swinging at him. But I suppose if you're willing to do that against a guy that hits as hard as Rosenstrike, then you're not going to be worried about what's coming back from Stipe, and might give you the chance to get in there. So I think Stipe is going to have to, again, lean heavily on the wrestling. It's all down to whether Ngannou has been... I know for a fact he has been, coaching his wrestling. He's been working with ex-UFC fighter Jake Shields, so I guess, I've gone for Francis, but it's going to be an interesting tactical fight, I think.
Yeah, I think it'll definitely be more competitive than the first fight.
Yeah.
As I say, I think that was just Stipe knew he couldn't obviously stand there and bang with Ngannou, so he did the smart thing and he took him down and
he wore him out. Basically, he was exhausted at the end of the first round.
Yeah, so he did the smart thing. You'd expect him to obviously do that. He's still not going to want to stand there and bang with him, so
no.
You'd probably expect him to try and take him down again. So I think it's the smart thing that he's working on his wrestling to obviously try and counter that. But it'll be interesting. I can just see Ngannou winning by knockout.
Yeah, I'm the same. I was watching a video where it was highlights of Ngannou, but it was like people talking about him over it, and it was the bit where Dana White says Ngannou's punch, the world record punch that he registered on that machine, has more force than a 20-pound sledgehammer swung from overhead at full power by an average man. It also has more force than a Ford Focus at full speed hitting you. Like, that's a ridiculous... Surely that could kill a man.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Especially if he hit you with his bare fist.
Yeah. Fucking hell. Like, do you have to just GA him punching? Like,
it's hard to... If that man can sort some kind of wrestling out, he's going to be one feared man, because I say you don't want to stand and bang with him, and then if he sorts out his ground game, it's tough to take him down, and he does work on the ground and stuff like that. He's going to be one very hard man to beat.
Yeah, I don't see any way around beating him in that situation, but fuck yeah, he's a scary man, and the way Stipe handled him in the first one, props to him. Stipe's defended the heavyweight championship more than anyone. He's 20-3. One of them defeats is DC. I think the other two are outside the UFC. Like, I just don't feel like he gets the respect that he should.
Probably not. Trying to think of, like, you look at like other heavyweight champions, probably, because I always used to like Cain Velasquez.
Yeah.
I thought he was ace, and I think he gets a lot of respect, but he's lost more than what Miocic has lost, and he's not done as much as what Miocic has done, and
exactly.
But I feel as if like he gets a lot of respect.
Cain Velasquez is held in very high regard in the heavyweight world.
So it is weird. I don't know. I think some fighters just have something about them that people just like.
There's like that marketability and that fan attraction. I get what you mean. Stipe's quite reserved, isn't he? Like, he doesn't go out of his way to be a social media presence. I mean, he's a firefighter when he's not when he's not fighting in the octagon. So I do understand that.
It's the same when you look at like say if you compared like Khabib and Conor McGregor, like you'd probably say McGregor gets like the more, especially from the company, I feel he gets the more respect than what Khabib would, because Conor's going to earn you a lot more money than what Khabib will, even though Khabib's the better fighter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think he did originally, and then when Conor did the whole like go away, come back, that's when Dana was like, I'm going to focus on this guy, because the following Khabib has in like Russia and stuff like that, you know, would eclipse the coverage anybody else got. It just doesn't show as much in our like Western world. We don't see the effect, but you know, Khabib's huge over there, so he can probably make them more money without us realizing.
Yeah, and obviously with like if you see about the Khabib and Conor situation, I think Conor's more switched on business wise, so he knows, like he knows that the UFC are going to pay him a lot more money than what they pay other fighters to pay, because he can generate that type of like pay stuff like that. So let's say some fighters just have that, like you said, that markability and know how to go about the business, where some fighters just like to not get on like the social media and just like to get in there and fight.
Yeah, I mean, it's a job,
and they don't get paid as much, which is weird. But I feel that's what Miocic is like. But I just can't help but feel that Ngannou will be 10 times better than that first fight.
I agree. Right, moving on to the second fight, Tyrone Woodley versus Vincente Lukey. So Tyrone Woodley, once in the argument for potentially the greatest welterweight ever, has lost his last 3 fights without winning a single round.
Yep.
So a massive fall from grace. And then Vincente Lukey has done really well in the UFC. Never been finished in the UFC. It's only ever the only 2 times he's ever been finished are by submission, so he's never been knocked out. And the losses in the UFC were like his first ever fight, which was on like the Ultimate Fighter finale, and then Leon Edwards and Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, which was a really close fight.
Yeah.
So again, this is another one where I can just see Lukey beating him.
Yeah, I'm a fan of Lukey as well.
Oh, same, absolutely.
I like him. But yeah, I just you have to go off like recent fights, don't you? And Woodley's definitely not the fighter he was when he was champ and stuff like that. So
he's been absent for the last 75 almost, because he got finished in the Kobe fight with the rib injury. So he's literally been dominated for the last 75 minutes he's fought for. Yeah,
that's what I mean. So I think you can lose fights, and it's the way you lose the fight. But he's literally not winning any rounds.
Like, do you feel like the fire's gone there? There's just he hasn't got it left.
Yeah,
I think
it's like because he started making like rap music and stuff, didn't he?
Yeah, and he's always on TMZ and stuff. I feel like that stuff took over.
Yeah, and it's just not the fighter he was. And it's hard to make a case when someone isn't even winning a round.
Yeah.
In like previous fights, it's as I say, you can only go off previous fights, like recent fights, and you can't really make a case for it.
True. So I think we're both in agreement that we think Lukey's going to win that one.
I don't know how.
Yeah.
But I feel he win, because Woodley doesn't. I know we've mentioned he got like the injury against Colby, but he doesn't really get finished.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if it was a decision victory, but
that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, but Vincente Lukey wins.
Yeah. So I'm tipping this next fight as the potential fight of the night, and I know the last couple of times we've done this, the fights have been terrible, but it's Sugar Sean O'Malley versus Thomas Almeida. So Sean O'Malley's coming off the loss to Marlon Vera, where he suffered that injury to his leg pretty early, and that pretty much saw the fight off quite a disappointing end. He said himself all week that he still considers himself to be undefeated, which make of that what you will. But Thomas Almeida is coming off 3 consecutive losses and 4 losses in his last 5. 2 of them being by knockout by Cody Garbrandt and Rob Font, who are both good fighters. I get that, but he's also had 2 decision losses. I can't remember exactly who they were against, but the problem with Thomas Almeida, he's always dangerous. He's got 17 wins in his career by KO. I think he's like 22 and 4 overall. So he can finish a fight. So and obviously so can Sean O'Malley. So I just feel like this one could be back and forth, or it could just be a one-hitter quitter. You just don't know, really.
Yeah, I think if you had to pick one, I'd probably go with Sean O'Malley to win.
That's who I've gone.
But as I say, we've not seen him since he did that injury, which was. I felt sorry for him because
it's a shit way to lose.
It's a shit way to lose, and I think the other fighter was giving him shit as well because he's like Sean O'Malley's one of them
he likes to talk.
He likes to talk. So when he got defeated, the other fighter was all.
Well, I know from
giving him back really.
Yeah, I know from watching Embedded that O'Malley basically said now that he's lost, he feels like every fight he has to go out there and prove himself because of how much he talks. Like you can't tell people like welcome to the Sugar Show and this is the future and I'm the greatest ever and then lose. So he feels like even if he was to get like 4 more wins now, he couldn't just go back to being like I'm the greatest ever and just settling on it. He has to back that up with a great performance every time.
Yeah, and that's the trouble if like you're like a shit talker.
Yeah.
Like because he can't be a shit talker then go out there and
get your jaw broken.
Lose. Yeah, and like get badly beaten and stuff like that. So you need to be a really good fighter. So I like watching him, and I think he's a cracking fighter and stuff like that. But whether he can go to the very top,
yeah,
I suppose we'll have to wait and see.
Quite a stacked division as well, if you think about it. So
yeah, it is. Yeah,
but really looking forward to that one. And I believe we're going to do a watch along for that UFC over on Twitch, which we'll then post to here. So look out for that as well. Right, so moving away from the UFC, we've got that final match of the Six Nations. France taking on Scotland in France. They know what they've got to do to win it. Do they do it though? As discussed earlier, probably not.
No, not for me. I can probably see France winning the game, but not by
enough
20, like 20-21 points or something like that.
I'm not sure if they have to win by that many or do you have to score a certain amount. I was trying to check the other day, but I couldn't quite find what I was looking for.
I think it's because if they win and then obviously get the bonus points stuff like that, they'd be on the same.
Yeah.
I think as Wales, so it'd go down to points difference,
and I
Wales have got.
They would win on that, wouldn't they? If they go level on points, they'll beat them, won't they?
Wales will.
Oh, is that why they need the 21 points? Right, I see. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, so obviously, I every week I say this, but I don't know anything about rugby. But I'm going to agree with you and your infinite knowledge. I think France will win the match, but not by enough.
Yeah, I don't see them beating like Scotland by. I think it's 20 or 21 points. I can't remember which one it is now, but
yeah.
I think that's too large of a gap to beat Team Scotland. So
yeah,
I can see France winning, but I see Wales finishing top.
Yeah. Okie dokie. Moving on to the boxing this weekend, we got White versus Povetkin 2. You know, White coming back for that rematch after being starched in the first fight.
It's interesting, I think because White was winning the fight.
Yeah.
From that point, pretty comfortably, and then, like the big boys do, one shot, and just switch your lights off. So.
Yeah. I feel like White gets hit too often though to not be, to not get that happen again.
He likes to fight.
Yeah.
He doesn't like to box, which is an issue when you're fighting like big lads like these, because, like I said, like the first fight, like you can be dominating the fight, and then that one uppercut can just switch your lights off, and then.
Yeah.
But I think Hearn said if he does lose again, that's his world title dream over.
Yeah, I
like for good.
did see that. Yeah. So I mean, that's all all the motivation you need in it, really.
Definitely, yeah. And I personally don't think White will ever win a world title.
No, I don't. I don't think he's good enough.
I don't think he's, like I said, I think he goes in there. I think he's quite emotional, and I think you can get inside his head.
I feel like he just goes there for a brawl every time.
Yeah, like you can't. But like if you come up against Fury, he's man-made for him.
Yeah.
Literally man-made for him, and he'll literally just box his head off. He's too wild and it's just too out there for me to win a world title. But
yeah, I mean Joshua's already beat him once, so
yeah, and that was, as I say, I know they were both quite inexperienced, but if you look at the two, I just think Joshua's just improved a hell of a lot more than what he has.
Yeah, definitely.
Like White still fights the exact same.
True.
Like I don't think he's ever going to change from that style. Where he proved against Andy Ruiz rematch that he can go in there and just box. And,
yeah, I feel like
stay away and
Joshua Parker as well.
Yeah, I say so. He's got different where White will go in there and he will swing and try and that's it. That's all he's got.
Yeah.
So you can just see like the different levels. So I don't think he will win a world title personally. And Joshua and Fury are in this 2-fight deal. So even if he does get a world title shot, he's going to be worked. Yeah. So he's just going to get. Who says that they don't? Joshua Fury don't draw the first game, someone wins the second, and then they have a trilogy.
Yeah, or even like Joshua wins one, Fury takes the rematch and beats him, and then it's like, well, no, I want my rematch.
Yeah, so if it's one, then it's going to be.
The problem with that is I don't see him winning this fight. I think Povetkin catches him again.
Possibly, as I say, it doesn't change, so I don't feel as if he will go away and be like, oh, I can't really do that.
Yeah,
because he thinks that he's going to go in there and obviously knock him out this time.
Yeah, and the Povetkin fights I've seen, a lot of the time he is like 5-6 rounds down and then just catches you. Like I've seen him do it against is it Dave Price, the big tall guy. He battered him for about 6 rounds and then he just caught him with that left hook, a patented left hook, and switched him off instantly. So I think Povetkin wins again. To be honest, I don't see it going any other way.
Povetkin's a really good fighter. I know he's a bit on the older side now, but they always say that's the last thing to go.
Yeah,
is your power. So I think he's only ever lost to Klitschko and Joshua.
I think so. Yeah.
I think that's literally the 2 fights he's lost, the 2 L's that are on his record. So it's not.
It's not the worst company to have lost to, is it?
That's what I mean. So, and that was when Klitschko was just dominating everyone.
Yeah. So,
there's no shame losing to those 2, but it's definitely going to be interesting.
Yeah, could be a fun fight.
I do keep going to either one. I think you can obviously make a case for both, can't you? So, be interesting. It's in Gibraltar as well, isn't it?
Yeah. Some weird reason Dillian White's being put on the £2 coin for Gibraltar. As a proud Gibraltar man. I don't know what's going on there.
It's a bit weird. But yeah, it'll
tax
be
haven, in it.
Yeah, it'll be. It's weird. I think they're finding like a little sports zone as well, which is weird. They could have just gone to they could have literally just gone to
Eddie Earn's back garden.
Yeah, instead of going on. I don't know. It's just fucking weird. But they did the first fight in Eddie Earn's back garden, didn't they?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just I just found it quite weird how they've gone all the way over there to fight the sports zone. But special mention as well, Ricky Hatton's son Campbell. Hatton is making his pro debut as well. There's a lot of noise around him. When I've seen his interviews and stuff like that, he does have his father's traits. He's got that cheeky chappy type of and he just looks a spit of him as well.
Yeah.
And he just acts
Hopefully
like
not what he looks like now.
No.
Not Ricky Hatton.
Back in the day. So he'll be interesting. Apparently he fights like him as well, which will be interesting to see. I know that obviously this is going to be his pro debut. He's probably been pitted up against some
0-25 fighter.
Some journeyman. I think that's he's probably going to win.
Yeah.
But it'll just be interesting to see how he fights if he does fight like his dad.
Yeah.
I was one of his dad's biggest fans. So
the problem is Ricky Hatton was again one of them like typical English fighters where they're fucking brilliant until they hit the world stage and then they just can't quite take that final step against the absolute elite. Like, I know Ricky Hatton did well, but like if you look at who he fell to in the end, it was them top level fighters. Like Mayweather and Pacquiao, I think were the two that come to mind.
Yeah, I remember watching the Hatton Mayweather fight, and I think Mayweather would have won anyway, because I just think he's
Just
obviously one of the I think he's one of the best ever, but I don't think the referee did Hatton enough favours, because Hatton likes to get inside and work, but every time they were coming close, the referee was splitting them back open. So
stapling fucking thing. Yeah. Like Mayweather's fights, to be honest.
Yeah. So, well, when he lost to Pacquiao, that was
yeah.
He literally face down arsehole. So
yeah, it wasn't.
It'd be interesting to see how he fights, though.
Yeah, I'm quite interested to see how that goes. We might even. I'm not sure how the timings work with it being in Gibraltar, but we might even be able to catch that before the UFC starts.
Possibly, I think.
I'll have to have a look. Right, so moving away from boxing and onto the cricket. The first ODI. I feel like England started really well. I think we won the toss, decided to bowl first, and at one point they were like 205 for 5 with about 7 overs left. So you're thinking, with the way we had them, maybe another 50 runs from them last 5 overs or 7 overs, and you've done well. But we continued to let them score another 95, and they scored about 315 in the end. And then typical England again. The chase started brilliantly, 100 partnership from the openers, and then we just went to shit and ended up losing by 60 odd runs.
I think England will look back at this and they'll be quite embarrassed, really.
Yeah, there's lessons to learn, because the problem is the World Cup, when it happens, the T20 World Cup, is in India, and the place we played the T20s is where the final's going to be played. So,
yeah.
The fact that we went 3-2 at least in the T20 shows that, on our day we can win a T20 there.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot to learn. I think we were unfortunate in that game. Moeen Ali dropped Shikhar Dhawan on about 60. I think someone dropped him early on about 16, and he went on to make 96. And then the two lads that hit big at the end just smashed 50s off about 25 balls. But I think that's where England struggle, because it's like the first 3 sometimes will do something. Like, obviously Ben Stokes got out cheap coming in at 3. Don't know if that's going to stay as a permanent fixture with him at 3. I think maybe Joe Root will come back into there, but yeah, I think they're using this as a learning situation, but they really should try and win the second and third, and at least take one of the series out of the 3 to not get whitewashed. Second ODI Friday and the third ODI Sunday.
Hopefully they do, but
on current form, it's hard to see, isn't it?
Yeah, they just keep collapsing, don't they? And there's certain points within the game where they'll just collapse. So I won't be surprised if it happens again. A
big issue as well is the bowling. We just don't have that person that can give you a bit of magic. Archer's out injured. It looks like he's going to have elbow surgery or something. So, Mark Woods started well, and then it just feels like as soon as Coley's there, he's just like, oh, you're doing well, are you? Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, just everywhere around the pitch. Like, we just can't get him out at the moment. He gets himself out most of the time.
So that's the issue, but I mean, hopefully they can sort themselves out and win the last two. Like I said, we don't want to go there and lose every format.
Yeah.
But let's just say in current form, you can't really see anything but probably Indy winning 3-0.
Yeah. I'll obviously tune in on Friday. It's so loud, that road. I'll obviously tune into the game tomorrow and give it a watch, but yeah. The first ODI hasn't left me very optimistic.
No, same here. Which is unfortunate, but I'll say hopefully they can do it.
Yeah. So they're Friday and Sunday, so let's just hope that goes well. Right, well, that's everything I've got to cover. How about you, Sam?
I think that's everything. Yeah, there wasn't too much news that broke this week or anything like that. But no, I think we've pretty much covered everything.
Awesome. Right. Well, as always, like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell to be notified when we go live. Twitter and Twitch are in the description. As we said earlier, we'll probably do a watch along for the UFC on Saturday/Sunday morning. So if you're a night owl like we are, come over and say hi, talk along with us about the fights and stuff like that. And we'll see you next time, I guess.